Hello, welcome to another 3-minute Lightroom challenge. This time I have an image supplied by photographer Kevin Pack. Hi, welcome to Ian's studio. I'm Ian and Butterfield. Welcome to a 3-minute Lightroom challenge. The aim of the challenge is myself and fellow photographer Rick Bradbury are both supplied with an image from a photographer. We haven't seen the image and we have 3 minutes to do an edit on it in Lightroom. This time it's an image from Kevin Pack. Let's start off with my edit of the image. So it's a portrait image. Let me start the clock and we'll see what I can achieve in 3 minutes. The clock's going. Right, okay, over to the develop module on here. And have we got settings on there? No, that's as it is in camera. Brilliant. I'll go full screen on here so you can see everything I'm doing. Right, let's start off with the lens corrections as ever. Which is what we want. Right, okay, it's not made much difference on there. So basic, I think the exposure's not bad on this. It's missing a little bit in the highlights. I can afford to bring that up a fraction on there. I don't quite like that on the skin tones. Just bring down the highlights just a tiny bit on there. We're losing a little bit of definition in the shadows. So I'm just going to bring the shadows up. And I'm starting to like that now on there. I've got 2 minutes left. Bring those highlights down again because they're starting to get a little bit hot. Now, what I'm going to do with this, I think it needs the focus going onto the subject. So I'm going to do a radial filter just to go around her. And I always get these the wrong way around. So we're in there. And we will invert that. And no, we want. I got it right the first time, but I wanted the exposure down just slightly on there and to feather it more. I've got halfway through my time. Bring that back up again. I just want that little bit darkening on there. So coming out of the radial filter. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to try a little trick here with colour, HSL and colour. So with the saturation, the red I'm going to boost just a fraction and then bring everything else down a long way. And that should give us an interesting sort of effect with it. We've got those down. Really not quite that much. I just want to keep a little bit in the red. The orange is a problem on here. Let's bring the skin tones down. I've got 30 odd seconds on there. Back to basic. And if I take the vibrance down, yeah, that's getting there. I don't want to go true pop colour with it. Because that's a little bit cliche. Cropping, I've got 14 seconds to do a crop on it, just bringing it down just slightly on there. Take the lock off. I would think I'll make it a little bit more panoramic on there. Bring that in just a fraction and up a fraction, and that's it. That's all I can do in the time. Wow. As ever, 3 minutes goes very, very quickly, and that's the sort of look I was going for with it. There are a couple of extra things, had I got time, I'd like to do on it. I would like to have darkened this area off just a fraction more, but didn't quite have the time to do it. But I think I'm reasonably happy with that as a 3-minute edit on the image. And now it's Rick's turn to see what he can do in 3 minutes with Kevin's image.
Now this has been sent in by my friend Mr. Pack, Kev. I hope you're well. Let me know if you need anything, mate. Right, and let's get to work. Now, this is a DNG file, so the edit that Kev has done on it, I suspect, is somewhat baked in, if he's done anything with it. Shot on an X Pro 2 Fuji, 2000 of a second, f2.8 ISO 200. Nice light on the face, and let's get cracking with the edits. We'll go Adobe Standard. In fact, I'm going to reset that completely. Adobe Standard, and we will get rid of noise reduction because you don't need it to ISO 200. Come on, Lightroom. And I'm assuming the lens profile is built in. Leave that. Okay, so let's get to work. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to warm this up just a touch there. Take away a little bit of magenta to even out the skin tones. Again, you're probably going to see different colours through a compressed stream versus a calibrated monitor that I'm on. It is what it is. Right, let's do contrast on the curve here. Now, I'm not that used to working with Fuji files in Lightroom, certainly not from the X-Trans sensor of the X Pro 2. So it'll be interesting to see what we get. It does seem quite contrasty off the bat, even in linear. And we'll go a little bit of shadow, a little bit of highlight remover, take the exposure down just a tad, and we'll go on to a global contrast. I do feel it should be quite punchy. Now I'm going to concentrate on saturation on a couple of specific colours. Don't want to go too far because there will be red elements and pigments within the skin. A little bit on the orange and yellow. Don't really want to go any further there. Do I want to push the blue a little bit to suggest it's cold outside? Maybe. And here I am in split toning. Who'd have thunk it? Right. Let's see what we can get. Do you want to go a little bit? I don't know if I want to go cooler in the highlights. I'll probably stick with warm just a little bit and see what we get with a bit of cool in the shadows. Just a hint. I don't want to do this because the black shouldn't be blue. Right, and just a little bit there. Is that too much? Don't know. And we'll go for a little bit of masking and sharpening, a bit of detail up to there. And I would say that would be it. Let's go before and after. So it certainly came out a little cooler within the DNG file. Warmed the skin tones up a little bit, made the colours pop just a little bit. I think it corrected the hair colour most definitely, and that is done. Bidding, there we go. Shh, shh, quiet. Oh, that's noisy. Right.
When we did this as part of one of my live streams, we provided Kev with some feedback on his image. First of all, have a listen to what Rick had to say.
We know it was shot on an X Pro 2, so a Fuji X-Trans sensor camera at f2.8 on the 56 1.2. Nice little camera, nice little lens. It is plenty sharp enough, even without any kind of work on it. One thing you may notice on this as we punch in, nothing wrong with the sharpness. It has the little waxy worm effect in Lightroom, because Lightroom is still utter rubbish at dealing with X-Trans files. In my opinion. I've seen much better conversion from Capture One and other software converters. But there we go. Good colour. I do like the overall look of the outfit. Suggests a bit of a period kind of a look. For me, the expression is lacking here. She looks a little bit worried in the mouth and the eyes, whilst we've got eye contact. I don't know, it doesn't suggest the feel of the shot, and I'm not too sure about the hands being crossed here. I mean, you can do that maybe if you're cold, and you know, it does certainly look like it may have been cold looking outside. Most warehouses in the UK are fairly cold anyway. Have you seen the windows? Single pane, right. But not so sure on this. Maybe arms folded would have conveyed that a little bit clearer, or maybe going away from that to draw something out that's more relaxed. We've got bold colours, good clean makeup, nicely dressed, fur hat, which suggests yes, it's cold, so we don't necessarily at that point have to pose and overtly suggest it there. We can see out the windows it's cooler, and we can tell by the clothing that it may be a cooler period or time of year, and so maybe looking something a bit more of a smile, or maybe working towards drawing something from them expression wise. Doesn't have to necessarily be happy, don't get me wrong, but just getting something more from them expression wise, and it can be something as simple as just suggesting a story or a character to play for them, to get that from them there. One other thing to talk about is the composition. If we bring up the rule of thirds, and we can actually cycle through these in Lightroom, so we can go golden ratio, spiral, 4x5, 5x7 crops, and what have you, and then back to the rule of thirds. It feels a bit unbalanced, with a strong diagonal line cutting through the body here, head in a clean spot, not so much here because of the window frame. It's difficult to find a frame and composition unless you change your perspective a little and frame the head within a window pane. Really, when you've got a hat on, it can kind of hide that a little bit, but it just feels a little bit unbalanced here. And if we unlock the crop, we can start to bring in a bit more of a balanced composition in terms of placement on the frame, but we're having to do a heavy crop. And if we actually go to 8x10, 4x5, you can balance it off a little bit better in general, but it kind of gets a little weird. You've got leaning lines at this point, a diagonal, and they don't really play well, I think, with this. I would rather have gone straight onto the window and used the window as a frame, personally. Again, this is all subjective, of course. We'll reset that crop. Let's try a 5x7. Yeah, it still feels a bit unbalanced. I mean, if you'd popped her on the very edge of the frame, we're starting to cut off there a little bit because I've got it locked. May have been able to work at that point and then left negative space on the other windows there, but for me personally, composition wise, doesn't work. This diagonal area here could have been used for negative space if they were placed off to this side within that third or on the third. Again, it depends on the final use, but it just feels a little bit off kilter and unbalanced there. Great look on the makeup, so kudos to the hair and makeup team. And the model, I like the look, I like the outfit. I think more could have been gotten from the expression there, but very, very nice light on the face, good light in the eyes, good colour. I've tweaked it to taste, you know, granted, but good colour off the bat. Nicely done, Kev, but thank you very much for sending the image in. Right, that's my feedback over, and we'll hand back over to Ian.
And finally, it's my turn to give my feedback on Kevin's image. This is what I had to say during the live stream. Okay, my comments on it. It'll probably come as no surprise to anyone that I'm going to disagree with Rick on a few things on this. I do quite like the pose, and I quite like the expression. I think there's something quite enigmatic about the expression that she's giving on there, and it makes me think, yeah, what's been going on? What is it about this image? About what's the story behind where she is? So yeah, I do like that. As Rick said, the outfit is fantastic. I actually like the setting as well on it and where it is. I think that does work well for it. The sharpness is spot on. One of the things which was mentioned earlier about cropping, Rick's given his view on there. I tend to crop to the image rather than to a particular ratio. These days we very rarely print our prints, so actually cropping to a particular ratio for a physical print doesn't make that much difference. I'd rather have a crop that works with the image. So my crop, as you saw in my edit, I tried to get her on the 1/3 line for it. I think I managed that. Hope I've managed it on there. I think the outfit is great. And I think I like the concept of it, so well done. And the nail varnish complements the outfit as well. The reds work really well with it. Now, the other thing which came up was something I missed during my edit, and unfortunately I've forgotten to load into Lightroom Kev's original edit of this, so I can't check and see whether he did this or not. But one thing that does need doing is straightening up those windows. The moment I'd finished my 3-minute edit on it, I saw it and I thought, oh no, I've missed it as soon as I finished recording. So we want the transform on there, and if I go full screen on this so you can see, yep, I'm going to use the transform option, and I'm going to initially try auto on it and see what it does, whether it straightens everything up. Yeah, much better on that. So that is the extra step I would take. Get those verticals right in the image on there. Everything's filled in nicely on this side, so I really like it. I think it's a great shot, and I actually like the diagonal in there. I don't like having just a little bit up at the corner there, but I couldn't find a better crop that would deal with that. But that's about the only thing that I'd pick up on it. There's very little that I would want to change with this image, Kev. So kudos to you and to your model. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting and entertaining. We'll have more of these 3-minute Lightroom edit challenges coming up. If you want to make sure that you don't miss them, please subscribe, comment and like. If you want to have a go with one of your images to see what Rick and I can do with it, then get in touch and I'll send you all the information that you need. Until next time, thanks for watching, and here are some other videos that you might want to see.